Hello and welcome back to KMaccTalks Sports. We're going to finish out these last few games. Bengals at Colts. Now the Colts are favored by 7.5, which is crazy. It seems a little high. I know that Joe Burrow was kind of brought back down to earth by the Ravens last week. He was kind of reminded he was still a rookie in this game, by Lamar and the Ravens defense. They only scored 3 points, I believe. It was pretty ugly. I thought they might at least put up an effort. But, so the Bengals, we were reminded that the Bengals are the Bengals, before I got too crazy on the Joe Burrow train. I was reminded that the Bengals are still the Bengals overall. But I just think the Colts here, I don't know. I don't see, the Colts are pretty good defense, underrated defense. You got Darius Leonard. They're a good defense, but I don't think they're as good as the Ravens defense. And I don't think their offense is definitely not as good as the Ravens offense. Lamar Jackson is much better than, what's his name at this point? My God, I'm blanking on his name. Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers. Good about 5 years ago. Would have been a better matchup. But the Colts being favored 7.5 is a little much for me here. I'm going to stick with Joe Burrow here. It was only 1 week. I'm going to stay on the Joe Burrow train. And I'm gonna pick the Bengals here, maybe not to win the game, but I think this one will be very close. I think this one will be a closely fought matchup. I know the Colts have had like an extra week off, or they're in the COVID. They seem to be one of the COVID teams there. It's the Colts, Titans, unfortunately the Patriots. But I think the Colts will probably win this game, but I could see this one being a last-second field goal or something. The Colts squeak this one out, or the Bengals might just win this one outright. I don't know. I think this is going to be a very close match, so that's why the 7.5 for the Colts is just a high favorite. At best, the Colts win by 7, and the Bengals still cover. So I'm sticking on the Joe Burrow train here. The Colts corners are a little better than expected. They got that Pierre Gisser, I believe his name is, or whatever, keeps getting the interceptions. They got some tall, good corners, but, I still like Tyler Boyd. He's quietly having a great season. I like Tyler Boyd again. T. Higgins is still producing in that second, third slot. They look for him in the end zone. He's tall. But really, for the Bengals, Joe Mixon finally is kind of starting to do something again. Joe Mixon's kind of starting to show up. But I wouldn't be huge on him in daily fantasy. I don't... The Colts are just a middle-of-the-pack run defense, but I wouldn't be huge on Joe Mixon yet. I need him to... a couple more weeks, or a week or two more of production. Really, on the Bengals, it's just Tyler Boyd at this point. I wouldn't even Joe Burrow if you need a quarterback replacement or something in here season long, but it's just Tyler Boyd really for me there. I don't, Joe Mixon you're starting in your season long, obviously, but really it's just Tyler Boyd for the Bengals. The Colts are just as unexciting. You got your Jonathan Taylor, their great rookie running back, is starting to be there every week, showing up in a PPR league. I like Jonathan Taylor to have a really big week. So in daily fantasy, Jonathan Taylor's probably gonna have a very good week against the Bengals defense, who that's the Bengals' Achilles heel. They're not gonna stop anybody, especially through the air. This could finally be T.Y. Hilton's breakout week, but I feel like now I've been saying that for too many weeks, and I just don't think T.Y. Hilton's gonna have a breakout week. I think T.Y. Hilton might be done. It might have been he might have fallen off his cliff. Father Time might have caught up to T.Y. Hilton. I have nothing bad to say about him. T.Y. Hilton has brought me to fantasy championships in the past, so nothing bad to say there. But the Colts, you got Jonathan Taylor, going to have a big week. I would get him in daily fantasy. Probably will. I really like Jonathan Taylor. But besides that, for the Colts, I really don't see much there. Wide receiver-wise, I'm waiting for someone to really burst out there besides T.Y. and give me a good Colts receiver name to talk about every week. But there's really not much there in this game. It's pretty uneventful. But Jonathan Taylor, big week this week. Definitely pick him up in daily fantasy. Still fairly cheap. I like him. And Tyler Boyd, very quietly for the Bengals, having a great season, having 20-plus points in PPR leagues almost every week. So Tyler Boyd's quietly a great pick, if probably a little cheaper in wide receivers too. So look at him. But besides that's it, man. I mean, there's not much going on here. I see if Jonathan Taylor outplays Joe Mixon. I'm intrigued in that, and I think Jonathan Taylor will outplay Joe Mixon, sadly, because I have Joe Mixon in season long and I have to start him. But yeah, I think the Colts will win here. Even if the Colts win by 7, the Bengals will still cover with that crazy Colts, favored by 7.5. So pick the Bengals here. The Bengals will cover. Probably still lose though, but the Bengals will cover and lose. Such a great thing for a team. I'm sure they're psyched about it. Yes, but the Bengals will lose, but cover in a closer game than people apparently think. I think there will be a last-second field goal, the Colts win, or even if they win by 6 or 7, you still get the Bengals covering. And the over-under is 46.5. I would here... Oof, that's tough. I'm gonna go under here, though. I mean, this game, man, it's a low under, but I could see 24-21 here. That's what I'm gonna call it. That's 45. So I'm gonna say bet the under here. It's just not a very exciting game. There's a reason I chose to do it last. Just not very exciting. Gonna be a boring game. I can't even get excited talking about it. So I'm going to bet the under here. That's how unexcited I am for this game. But Colts win, Bengals cover, bet the under. Have fun watching that game.